I hope all your family is in good health as well.
Yes, yes, very good. Actually, my daughter is very happy to join both of us 24 hours. And so she's very fine, I think. She's in an age where that she's even more happy of the situation.
Oh,
because
yes.
The parents are at home always. But it's very heavy. I tell you that it's really heavy. You know better than me.
Oh, I do know.
She's 3.5. So she requires continuous assistance. And so it's not easy, but it's fun. For sure it's fun.
Well then, first off, can you tell us what the situation is right now in Turkey regarding the coronavirus in general and in sport?
I mean, according on what I don't like to read news at all nowadays, but of course I keep myself informed a little bit. And according on the news, Turkey is doing pretty okay. So there are a very high number of contagious because I mean the city of Turkey are very crowded. So Istanbul is 20 million, Ankara is 4 or 5 million. So every city is pretty big. So I think that that's why the contagion are pretty high, but the number of deaths is really low. I think so. They're handling the hospital care, the sanitary care is doing pretty good job. The healthcare, I believe, and they have a lot of intensity care rooms available, and so they are controlling the situation pretty well. There is a lockdown, but it's not so strictly a lockdown, except for the people over 65 and under 20, then they are obliged to stay home. The other people are more free. So me, my wife, for example, we are more free. But of course, I mean, there is not much to do outside except running, like I do often, and just going to market. So nothing else. Like everywhere, I believe.
And how about in sports?
In sport, everything is stopped right now, and there is a big meeting Monday where the Ministry of Sport, together with the president of many federations, will decide what to do, and according on the possibilities that there are. So it's not sure that the league will end. It's not sure that the league will keep going. I think we will know something more at the beginning of next week.
Do you know of any interesting ideas that your players have been introducing these days?
I think that my athletic trainer, Vanni Miale, that if I'm not wrong, he works also for Polish clubs and Polish national team. I'm pretty sure about that. It's called Giovanni Miale, and he's working with me in Vakifbanku in the last 4 years. He invented a nice system. So every day he give a challenge to the team, and one day is, for example, a certain number of repetition in a certain time. Another time is another day is in how many minutes they can do a certain number of repetitions. So one time they're challenging themselves by time, one time by repetition. Every day is different, and we have a ranking. That every day we have 1, 2, 3, till 14. All the players are ranking each other, and they're sending the video and the timing to our athletic trainer, and so he can also see if the technique is correct, and they are competing in that way, so it's just a different way to stay a little bit in shape and to have a little bit of competition so that they can joke with each other and really fight with each other. And it just, I mean, it's a very, very small things, but it's still something to at least force everybody to keep take care about the body, even if it is very, very far from what we will need when we will start again.
Mm-hmm. Great. Part of why I would like to get your perspective on some things that I'm going to ask you is because you have a history of sticking for a long time with some of your teams. So you have been with Vakifbanku for a very long time. You coached Germany for 9 years, if I'm correct.
Yeah, 8 for sure.
Yeah. So this is actually quite different from what usually happens here in Poland, where national teams coaches change often. So my question is, how do you keep things going with the players after a certain point in time?
The question is not the player, the question is myself, I believe, in that case. So the first thing I am checking very carefully my motivation. So if my motivation is still high and still full and still, you know, where it has to be, and if I'm still angry, like I am, so there are no need to change. You know, when I changed with Germany, was because I realized that for me was finished that time with this player, you know, so we have a great time together and was the right time to stop, you know, because they needed different inputs and I needed different inputs. You know, with Holland, I finished just because my daughter born, and so I had the chance to coach Turkey. And Turkey, with this Olympic for sure, I will make 5 seasons. And I mean, I have an Olympic in front of me, so I don't need to be motivated for that. He's motivating himself. And with Vakifbanku is also pretty easy because, you know, every year we are competing to win. So it doesn't matter if it's called Vakifbanku or if it's called another time. Of course, I'm happy to stay in the same club for a long time. And it's not anymore my club. It's my family. It's my third house. You know, I have one house in Italy, one house in Istanbul, and one house in my club. And just I think that is, I mean, it's something that is really inside myself. You know, I still have an incredible passion. So, and this passion don't go out. So till I still have this passion, I think it is the right decision to stay where I am because I'm not lacking passion. So when I have this passion, and then it's easy, I believe, to give this passion to the player. So when the player, they come in Vakifbanku, or when the player work with me, they keep feeling the passion, you know, and this is the most important thing. When, like happened with Germany, the passion is finished, then it means it's time to leave.
I see. Is there anything else you do to keep things fresh between you and the players? Because after a certain point in time, people get tired of each other. Or don't they?
Yes, for sure. But I think that one thing that I try to push myself is to learn and to grow continuously, you know. And so I'm for sure I'm not the same coach that I was 8 years ago. For sure, I'm not the same coach that I was 2 years ago, you know, because I try to every time to change some methodology. I try to change the way. I try to change the ambiente where I'm training, the way I propose the drill and my philosophy. Plus, one thing that I'm really happy to have the luck to do in a club like Vakifbanku, every 2 years, I'm changing the assistant coach basically and try to have an assistant coach that come every time from a different perspective and possibly from a different country. So I have 2 years a coach from Japan, then I have 2 year coach from America, then I have 2 year coach from Brazil, and then now I have a coach from Spain, and I have also the chance to collaborate with a coach from Thailand that come a little bit, you know. So I'm bringing these coaches, you know, for me to learn new things and for the player to give something different, you know. So it's never the same like the year before because there is always somebody new that have to teach me something and have to bring something to the player. So I think this desire to learn and to never watch back, but always to watch in front, I think it's something that the players that are with me are also basically working on and keeping for themselves too.
I understand. And staying on the same subject, how do you handle crisis situations within the team? Have you had any? Because of course, in such a long time, there has to be some. Even after a success, there's
yes,
something.
I mean, for crisis, we don't talk about this moment, you know, because I mean, these are the crises you cannot do nothing. And so I don't even worry about, you know, because there is nothing I can do for it. No. I think the crises are the moment when the team grows the most, you know. So the history of sport never show a winner that had easy life, you know. So the winner of a big tournament are always the team that suffer a lot in that tournament, you know. That is, we have millions of these examples. I mean, watch last Olympic, you know, first women, China, they were third in the group. You know, they lost 3 matches in the group. They won Olympic medal. First man, Brazil. You know, they were almost out of the group. You know, so that means they lost a lot. You know, and these are the moments that make the team grow and the team learn. You know, this is for me are the most special moments. You know, because it's really when, oh, okay, you see, we are not good enough. We missed this. We have to work on that. We were not, you know, efficient. We were not as good as them. We didn't prepare ourselves in the way, you know, we should do. So these are the moment of the growth, you know, and of course, if this crisis happen in the middle of the season, it's more easy to recover. If this crisis happen at the end of the season, then you need these 2-3 months to digest. But the crises are really, for me, the best moment of a team, because it's also when you see how is the character of the staff, how is the character of myself, how is I use the character of the player.
And how about crisis on a more personal level? How do you think a coach should approach the players? Should he be their friend, or maybe rule with an iron hand, or what is your style there?
No, I think that in behind the player, like behind the coach, there is always a person, you know. So and if the person is in crisis, you know, shouting and kill to her is not going to bring any result, you know. So of course, sometimes our coach we make mistakes. Sometimes I shout to player also, you know, because but not because I believe they are in crisis, because maybe in this moment I believe they are not enough focus or they are not pushing enough. But also I realize that the shout is not bringing much, you know. So I think that our job, like a coach, is to have a very deep dialogue with our player, you know. So we have to understand them, we understand when they need us, and we have to understand when they need our support, when they need our humanity more than our volleyball knowledge, you know. And when we catch this moment with the player, we can make always a big step in front. And sometimes we are successful in this, sometimes we are not successful in this, sometimes we don't see very well, you know, the crisis of a player, you know. So that's why also I try to have in my team a psychological support, because, you know, I mean, my main issue is volleyball, of course, you know. So and having near me one person that their main issue is the psychology, you know. So this will give me a big help, especially in a women team. Having a women psychologist can really help a lot the player to open when there are some subjects that is difficult to open with their coach. And I think this is very important.
And on another note, what do you think of the potential of Poland women's national team?
Poland national team is a great national team, I believe. So in the Olympic qualification, we were just more lucky than them. You know, so nobody knows how we won this semi-final against Poland in Holland. You know, nobody knows. You know, yeah, for sure we didn't want to die. That was clear. But you know, then you need luck in this moment. And Poland has one of the best setters in the world. Poland has probably one of the best future attacker in the world, like Stasiak. Poland have a great diagonal, like Martek. You know, the level of middle blocker is okay. You know, they're not a top level, but I mean, they're not bad. So it's pretty good middle blocker. And when they will find one more position for at least very good in reception, they will be a very, very, very strong team. You know, so they have everything to be strong. They have a good physicality, they have good technique, you know, they have great support, they have great fans. So it's one of the one of the best European team right now.
And some of the promising young players that you just mentioned have been playing in Italy recently, like Malwina Smarzek, Magda Stysiak.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think it's a good move to go play abroad at a young age like Stysiak did?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I'm also pushing many of my players in Turkey, but it's too easy to stay in Turkey, you know. So they already take amazing salary and playing for big teams, so they don't feel the need to go outside. But I'm pushing them to go outside, you know. Going outside means, first of all, have the courage to go out from your comfort zone. to go out from your DS, to go out from your house, to go out from your family. You know, that means, first of all, growing like a person. That means taking responsibility. And that means, again, and that means going in a place where the people will be very demanding because you are the foreigner. So you are the one that have to solve the problem. You know, so I think it's always a great move for any player of any sport to go outside. Sometimes, I mean, you have to find the right time to do that. Okay, this is changed for every player, but it's a great move. Plus, Italy is the most challenging league in the world, you know, because there are only good teams. There are not bad teams. You know, Turkey probably is the team, not probably. Turkey is the team with the best teams in the world, you know, if you compare to the top, but it's not a great league because from 6, 7 to 12, there are 2 easy matches. You know, Italy is okay. There is one team super like Conegliano, but all other team, you have to fight hard against everybody. You know, the number 2 can lose against the last of the league if don't play with the starting 6 and good. You know, so that's why it's pretty challenging league.
But the news last week was that Joanna Wołosz might sign a contract with Gizacibashi Istanbul.
I don't think it's true. From what I know, she signed 2 years contract with Conegliano, so I don't think it's true.
But do you think that Turkey might be another good destination for Polish players after Italy, especially given the situation with coronavirus?
I think for example, 2 years ago, I was searching Stysiak. You know, I asked for Stysiak, but I arrived late. She already signed for Scandici, you know, so, and it's a great destination, you know, and just the market in Turkey is very difficult because there are 3-4 teams that are only searching for the top player of the world. And then there are teams that are searching, a lot of teams that are searching for players not too expensive. You know, and then there is a very small part that are searching for the good player, you know, that are in the middle between the top and the cheap. You understand? Mm-hmm. So that's why it's not easy league, for example, for Polish player to find because, you know, except Wołosz right now and maybe Stysiak, they don't have a really top player, but they are very good players. So they are also too good for the low level, you know, and then in the middle, there are not enough teams. In Italy, for example, one player like Smartek can play in everything, you know, and they're pretty much the same salary in everything. You know, that the player like Stysiak, you know, can play in the best team. Also, Stysiak probably, I believe, will be one next player that we will see in Turkey. So it's just a question of market that change from country and country.
I see. And staying on the same subject, Polish national team is in an interesting situation in that both players that we talked about are doing a great job on the same position as opposites. Because Stysiak would like to play the same position in the national team as she plays in the club. And we have Smarzek there. So as a coach, what would you do with this kind of problem, if this is a problem at all?
I think that I have enough problem to think about my 2 teams, you know, Turkey and Vakifbanku. But if I have to start to think about the problem of other teams, then I really need, you know, another head. No, I think that the coach of my friend, coach of Poland, is doing a very good job, and he did what I would have done. You know, I mean, I think that a coach has to put in the court the best player that he has. You know, finish. So sometimes I saw coaches be very successful putting a great attacker in the middle. I think Italy, Lorenzetti, I think he won one Scudetto putting one great attacker in the middle because he was without middle. And this player is very high level player, but, you know, and the third middle blocker was very, very young. So he wanted to have a great player in the court, you know, and he put him in the middle. So that, of course, is something very big, but he won with one Scudetto like this, if I'm not wrong. That means that a coach always tries to have the best player in the court. So if I really believe that I would have done the same thing that the coach of Poland did.
And speaking of different positions on court, how do you start constructing your team? What positions do you start with? And on what criteria do you rely first when choosing players?
It depend which team are you talking about. You know, if you talk about the national team.
With the national team.
If the national team, national team is like you are a chef, you know, and you go in your kitchen and then you see what you have and then you have to make something with what you have, you know, and you cannot go market. You cannot go buy nothing, you know, so you don't choose. You just analyze what you have and you have to combine in the best way you can. You know, so if I go in Holland that I have only tall player, I start to find one good receiver because I have already all the tall players. You know, if I go to Germany that I have all the small player, I will start to middle block everything to find one too tall. You know, it depends from team and team. You know, so a national team that's why for me is very fun national team. You know, because you have to do with what you have. You know, it's really manage of, you know, putting the right ingredient in the right measurement, you know, because you cannot go market. In a club like Vakifbanku, it's more easy, you know, so most of the time I can get the player that I want. And then, I mean, it was not always like this, but in the last year, most of the time I can get the player that I want. So it's more easy to build my, you know, ideal team.
And during the matches, how much do you rely on the statistics and on the video stream, and to what extent on your own view of the game?
But the video stream a lot because it gives me a very better angle, you know. So a lot of time from our position we don't understand why something happened, and when you see from the back it's very clear. So this I rely a lot. Statistics are really important, but they come always after my eyes and my stomach, you know. So if I see a player that, you know, she have a great face, she have a great attitude, she's, you know, great presence in the court, I don't even watch statistics, you know. She has to stay in the court. But if I see a player that, you know, oh, this player, I don't like the face, I don't like the move, let's check. She's doing good, okay, so I keep in the court. Let's check, that's why she have a bad face, you know. It's time to give her rest, you know. So first of all, I think is what we feel, you know, is about that. But I mean, we have all kind of statistics that we can have. Let me say that probably statistics are more important to study the opponent team than my team during the match.
Can you tell us what will be the biggest challenges for you and your teams in the nearest future?
I think very easy. For Vakifbanku, it will be beat Corneliano because it's right now, in my opinion, is together with us is the best team in the world. And if I really believe that if we wouldn't have stopped the Champions League, probably the final would have been Vakifbanku and Corneliano. So I would be very happy to face with them and to play with them and to win against them. So this is first big challenge. The second challenge is to pass the Olympic group with Turkey, because our group is really very, very, very difficult. Because, you know, it was very funny. That was one day when journalist, he asked me, Giovanni, how you see the medal in Tokyo? I said, the medal, in my opinion, you know, I can bet all the money that I have, it will be between China, Serbia, Italy, and USA. Then next day, group of Olympic, Turkey with China, Italy, China, Italy, USA, and then came Russia. You know, so it's really very, very difficult group. And so going past the group is my biggest challenge right now.
And speaking of the Olympics, do you think that the postponing of the Olympic Games might be more of an advantage for some teams and a disadvantage for others, or not?
I mean, right now maybe yes, but who knows what happened in May, June? You know, so it's very difficult to say. For example, one example: if Italy should play now, you know, probably have to play without Bosetti. So probably they would be without a position for. But for sure, Bosetti is recovered for next July. You know, but who knows what happened to other players from now till next July? You understand? So it's very difficult to say. So I believe that probably some team will take little advantage. Probably some team will take little disadvantage. You know, for some player, you know, maybe 1 year can be, you know, little heavy, especially for the players that are over 35. But there are not many in the women tournament. So I believe at the end will not change much.
That was going to be my next question. Do you think that if this is a 1 year gap, that the situation has different impact on younger players and older players?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the younger player will go to Olympic more prepared because, I mean, 1 year more, 1 season more is important. Yes or no, you know, because also many players, they will miss 1 season in national team. And this is big gap, you know, so this 4 or 5 months in national team in the career of a player, you know, is really very, very important because the experience you do in a tournament like VNL, you know, and playing and, you know, at this level, so many matches, you know, and traveling and suffering and losing and winning, it's a really great experience in the life of a player. So all the players, they will miss this. So for young players, they will have this gap, but of course, they will be 1 year more experience. And from the old player, yes, they will be more rested. That is good, but 1 year in the passport more. So, you know, we can find always the plus or the minus in every situation.
Okay, for the last one, is there anything that you would like to wish to the volleyball fans in Poland?
I mean, to the volleyball fans in Poland, I wish they stay like they are because it's amazing to play every time in Poland. They are really the example and the best fans in the world because of the love they have for volleyball is, you know, you cannot compare it with any other country in the world. And I wish to the fans of Poland, like every fans, like all of us, you know, that like all the world, that we can go in the stadium, in a crowd stadium to play again, you know, because I believe, unfortunately for that, we will have to wait a lot. Probably we will go to play matches, but before to play matches crowded, we have to wait a lot. So hopefully this a lot become less possible.
Well, thank you very much for the conversation. It was really interesting, enlightening in many ways, and all the best to you.
Thank you. Also to you and your family. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.